Hello everyone, my name is Amritpal Kaur Gill. I'm one of the registered nurses in Canada. I got my license back in 2021, and today I'm going to talk you through how I got my license in Canada and what were the steps, and if you are also looking to get your registration in Canada and if you're an internationally educated nurse, so you can follow through the steps. So I've moved to Canada in 2015. I applied for my NNAS assessment in 2017. So NNAS is National Nursing Assessment Services, which do the assessment for all internationally educated students. So they usually do the assessment and they will issue you an advisory report. So to apply to NNAS, you have to send them all the documents, your educational documents, and if you have experience back home, you have to send those documents to them as well. And I have made a video on TikTok and YouTube how to start your NNAS assessment, so you can follow through the steps if you're in the same boat right now. And then once NNAS issues you an advisory report, you can apply it to the provincial regulatory body. In my case, I applied with CNO because it was the most easier at that time. CNO was waiving all the IELTS requirements before your NNAS assessment, and it was the only province to apply, which was doing the same at that time. So when I applied for my registration to CNO took like 3 months because during my NNAS assessment they found some gaps and it wasn't considered equivalent to Canadian education. So I had to do a bridging program. So when CNO got all the documents, they gave me my next steps. So for my first step, it was that my education was expired because it's been more than 3 years since I have passed my graduation. So I had to do a bridging program in Canada. To find those bridging programs, it was not so easy actually. I waited for so long. I was not a permanent resident, and if I was going to start any programs, I had to pay like triple the amount of the fee that a Canadian will pay for. So I waited until I got my permanent residence, and then I did my bridging program through St. Xavier Francis University in Nova Scotia. It was a 1-year program, and it helped me to bridge those gaps, and CNO accepted those. But then because there was no practicum in that program, so then my evidence of practice was also expired because it's been more than 3 years since I have practiced. So after doing my program, I actually was able to write my NCLEX. So then I did my NCLEX and I took 2 months to prepare for it. I did all my study with simplenursing.com. They had very good visual videos and study guides and mnemonics, and it was so helpful to learn all that. Even though after such a long gap, I was able to pass my NCLEX in my first attempt. I got 145 full questions, and I literally thought I failed, and it was such a nerve-wracking thing to do. But when I got my results, I passed, and I was so happy. But then it wasn't done yet. So, and then I took my next step to do my to meet my English requirements, because that was also one of the requirements. So to meet my English requirements, I did CELBIN, but unfortunately I got only 9 out of 10. It wasn't very easy to accept that because they want you to have 10 out of 10 in listening, and I only got 9 out of 10. So, and then you can't write your CELBIN for 3 months, which was so weird, and I had to wait 3 months to write my CELBIN again, which I did again, and then I passed, and then I was so happy about it. So after that, so now my last requirement was to meet the evidence of practice. And actually, because when I was doing all those things, COVID was, we were in the pandemic, and to complete my evidence of practice, I was planning to go back home. I had to do 400 hours of practicum. So I was thinking to go back home and work as a registered nurse back home and do all those hours there. But I didn't want to really go back home because I was eventually going to work in Canada, and I did want to be able to do that practical here in Canada. Well, I applied through CARE. CARE is Care for Nurses, an organization in Ontario which is helping internationally educated nurses to get their license in Canada. So and then my case manager reached out to me and let me know that they are starting a program in Canada which will help me to complete my educational, sorry, not the educational, but the evidence of practice requirements. And I was so glad. So I jumped into it right away and I was like, okay, yes, we want to do it. And so I went to Toronto Western Hospital for 3 months under the preceptorship. It was a paid preceptorship, which was really good. So I did complete my 3 months and 400 hours in Ontario, and then I got my license in February 2022. So while I wasn't done there, then I had to apply for, because my husband lived in Saskatchewan, so I wanted to move to Saskatchewan. So after completing my registration in Ontario, after getting my registration in Ontario, I applied to get a transfer to Saskatchewan, and then Saskatchewan accepted me as a registered nurse, and I'm currently working as a rural nurse in Saskatchewan. And if you're in the same boat, if you're doing any of those steps, please reach out. It's never too late to start. I started in 2017. I did complete my graduation in 2014, so it's never too late. And if you have any questions, I can make more videos. I can answer your questions and comments, but please reach out and never leave the hope. You will get there. And it was not so easy, trust me. I was so you get discouraged when it takes so long. I spent so much money to do all the bridging and to do the moving around, going to Ontario, coming back to Saskatchewan, but it was all worth it. And now I'm working as a registered nurse, and I am actually planning to do Botox nursing eventually. But yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out.